Welcome to today's stream, day 21. And if you stay to the end, by the end of this stream, you're going to learn how to build a one-man company, which I'm going to demonstrate. Today, I'm leaking my system. I'm leaking my system how to build a one-person company. So over the next few years, some of the world's biggest companies won't have hundreds of employees, right? They won't even have dozens of employees. They will be built by one person, supported by an entire AI workforce. That isn't science fiction anymore. It's happening right now. And today, I'm going to show you why we're living through one of the biggest technological shifts, right, in history, and why there's never been a better time to build an incredible business than today. 20 years ago, starting a company meant hiring staff, renting offices, buying expensive software, finding investors, spending time building systems. But before, right, the time has changed, right? And you could rarely scale. 10 years ago, cloud computing changed everything. 5 years ago, automation changed everything. And today, artificial intelligence is changing everything, right? So let me show you my system, right? This is a platform that I built, right, to enable one person companies, right? And here are my agents, right? And for the first time in history, every single entrepreneur will have the capability not only to build $1 million company, but it's just a few years ago, but to start with a $1 million company, almost get to 1 million a month, right? With the capabilities of doing $1 billion, right? So this is how time has changed through technology, right? Here's my agents I've built, right, to enable us to do that, right? I'm leaking my platform today, and I wanted to show you, right, how I'm doing it, right? And just so you know, right now, if you need to market an apartment, you can literally have build an army of AI agents to do marketing. AI can create your strategy, write your ads, design your graphics, edit your videos, manage social media, analyze what works, and let's take it, right. Even if you need a sales team, right, and now can qualify and research prospects, qualify leads, help you with personal outreach, follow up automatically, book appointments, even answer questions, right? 24 hours a day. Right here, some of my agents working. Like I said, if you need operations, AI can manage projects, document processes, analyze reports, organize knowledge, monitor KPIs, and coordinate teams. It is no longer about replacing people. It's about building like a AI workforce, right? One person can achieve that now, right? We're entering an era where the biggest competitive advantage won't be size, it will be intelligence of your systems, which I'm going to demonstrate and show to you today, right? And the business that will win over the next decade won't necessarily have the most employees, but will have the best AI workforce. Imagine waking up every single morning to your digital AI workforce, and you already know what's already happening and working, right, while you're sleeping. They've been generating leads, creating content, following up prospects, analyzing your competitors, improving your marketing, updating your dashboard, preparing recommendations before you've even had your coffee or drink in the morning. That's what the future is like. And that's what we're building right now. You don't need to have millions of pounds. You don't even need venture capital. You don't even need a huge team. You need to have the right strategy, the right technology, and be willing to build directly, right? This isn't about another AI tool. It's not about creating, it's about creating a AI native company from the ground up, right? A business which is running. Let me share my screen. I always forget to do this. All right. Literally, right? This is the platform that literally I've leaked and built, right? And let me just show you. army of AI agents working, right? So it's about building a AI native company from the ground up, a business where AI isn't an add-on. Like when you use Claude and ChatGPT, it's an add-on to your business. It's not at the central core nervous system, which I'm going to show you today, right? It has to be an operating system, right? AI employee has a specific role. Every AI employee has a specific role where every process is documented, where knowledge in your business is shared across your digital workspace, and where your business becomes smarter every single day. Imagine that, right? This is exactly what we're building live on this channel, which I'm leaking out to you today, right? On this live stream. What you would learn today on this, discover how one person can build literally a business, right? The biggest opportunity which has happened in a decade, which allows entrepreneurs to create an entire organization with AI, right? The key is about creating AI employees for every facet of your business, right? Which you see here, and why AI native businesses are going to outperform traditional businesses by a rapid speed, right? This is what's coming, and how you can build your own AI workforce today, regardless of what industry. So, whether you're a freelancer, consultant, local business owner, creator, or someone dreaming of your starting your first company, right? On this stream today, I'm going to share with you how it's going to be possible, because you're no longer building a business, we're building a digital workforce. We're creating companies where human beings, right, are not are just focused on vision, creative strategy, and leadership, while AI handles the execution layer, right? Repetitive tasks, right? And AI can work at the superhuman speed, right? And if you ever wanted to build something bigger than yourself without a massive team, right, you're in the right place. So I want you to chill, grab a coffee, grab some water, right? As we indulge. This is what's happening right now, right? This is the platform that I built, which I'm leaking to you today. OMG, that's what I did. I made a mistake. Let me go back. Literally. Literally, right? Let me just go in. So now this is the biggest shift what's happened, right? In the last 30 years, in the 1990s, right? Computer transformed offices. In the 2000s, right? The internet connected the world. In 2010, cloud computing allowed businesses to scale. In 2020, right? Artificial intelligence is creating digital AI employees, digital agents. In 2030, right? Companies are going to be built around all AI workforces, right? Traditional companies would have been depleted. So if you start building this now, right, you're going to be light years ahead of your competitors, right? So this is how we've gone from the industrial revolution to the computer revolution to the internet revolution to the mobile revolution. And now we are at the artificial intelligence, right, revolution. And now we're on the bridge of going to digital workforce. Trust me, right? A few years from now, everything's going to be digital. We're going to be able to have the power of building our own companies, employee-less companies, right? So I'm going to demonstrate to you, right? How is this going to be possible? How this is possible. So let me go to, this is a platform that I built, right? And in this platform, right, I can run agents to do specific tasks in sales, in marketing, right, in finance, right, in content, right. Here are some of our agents that we're working right now, right. This is what we call a swarm, agent swarm. I can come in here. I can come single morning and see what agents are running my business, which is an awesome like achievement. And then also I have my team, my physical team here. I have my agents here, right, who can communicate with each other. I have my chief operating officer, right, who coordinates every day I come. It sends me a report of what's actually happening across the company in agents with my agents, right? But how is that possible? How is that possible by you say, right? Let me give you a rundown. How it's possible, right, is because, right, I built the infrastructure. Like I said, I'm leaking my platform, but I built the infrastructure to make it possible. So I built a business playbook, right? Here's the business playbook which I built, right? And in our business playbook, right, this is the company brain, right? So in the business playbook, what it enables me to do, right? I wrote the whole process for my business, right? I'm just gonna share it with you, right? Let me just check this stuff out. Right in here, right? We have the company's brain, right? Every great company has knowledge, and the problem is that most businesses keep it trapped inside documents, emails, Google Drives, CRMs, and it can't be reached. It's out of reach, right? But here we built the brain. We have the company overview, what it does, core service, mission, revenue model, right? Then we have the ICP, right? The marketing, demographic, psychological pain points, goals, etc. Then we have the sales process, and then we have the average hooks, we have the objection banks, we have SOPs and operations, everything, workflows, everything. And we have the company knowledge bank, which we have here, right? And we're upgrading the system, right? This is what I built the business brain. People always ask me, right, what's the difference of working with ChatGPT or Claude, right? They don't have sufficient systems like this, right? And not only that, right, this is my own proprietary data, right, where I can operate, right? And the business playbook changes, right? Does one thing. Instead of constantly explaining your business to different AI tools, right? Or teaching companies, right? Or like if we've got MCP, it can connect to Claude, connect to ChatGPT, all the information is documented here in a company brain. So it understands the products, the services, your customers, your pricing, the brand voice, the sales process, competitors, the SOPs, like what I've just showed you, right? All in here in one like brain dashboard. It connects with agents, right, on the platform which I've built, right? So this is how we make it possible, right? Now, next, we have built, right, what we call a chief COO, right? Let me go back to the chief operating officer. The chief operating officer, right? Imagine a COO in companies. The COO, right, can cost 100 grand, 200 grand, right? But now in this age, we have the capacity to have a chief operating officer, which is a agent coordinating all the agents on the platform, right? Coordinate all the agents on the platform. So it knows it's reading from the business playbook, right? At the moment, we're even advancing this, right? The chief operating officer has 3 levels, right? Literally, it's got a basic level, a medium level, and a superpower level. At the moment, right, we haven't given we're gonna advance it, right? To actually now it's just a chatbot chatting with the agents, right? Now we're developing this to a whole nother level where we're gonna make it like a Hermes or Claude agent, right? We're gonna give it its own memory to start liaising and going out into platforms to liaising, right? Giving it real superpowers. This is what the superpower comes in, right? So it's an operating system, right? It operates, right? I can be sleeping, I can be like on holiday, right? I can be on a yacht, a jet, anywhere, right? And the company is still running, right? Efficiency, right? Because I've put the playbook here, right? It knows the playbook, it knows what's happening, right? And if and this and instead of just asking 10 different tools to do individual jobs, it's simply given a mission. The chief operating officer breaks down, delegates special AI agents, right? And employees monitors the progress and reports back exactly what's actually happened in the business. If I want to generate 50 leads, it can liaise with a lead gen agent, right? If we've got a Facebook agent which generates Facebook campaigns, right? If we're doing a lead gen campaign, the chief operating officer actually coordinates with that agent to execute, right? To go in Facebook and execute the campaign. We're living on a remarkable time, right? Imagine that's possible. Before I had to manually go up, upload the campaigns, do all that, right? But now the chief operating officer can liaise with a Facebook agent to go and do that. So imagine that it can do outreach, it can book appointments, right? Oh man, it can do. We've got a mission control, right? Let's go on to mission control, because in mission control is where it actually creates the missions. The chief operating officer creates the missions, right? This is how it's going to be possible to build how we're building a one person company, right? Let me go to mission control. Let me go to mission control. This is mission control, right? This is where we create missions, goals for the agents to execute. Literally, right? If I go here, these some missions have been created, right? If I go, I can go to mission control. I can even talk to mission control, right? I can talk to mission control. I say, what missions need to be created today, right? Mission control is gonna respond to me, right? Like my chief operating officer, right? Because it knows my business model, it knows my playbook, right? It's gonna come back, right? And then it can execute agents to go and do the work, working with our chief operating officer agent, right? Right now, it's just analyzing and planning, right? Before sometimes, right? You would have difficulty what to do with your day. Now your day is going to be completely structured. AI is the execution layer, right? Now it's come back, right? What I need to do based on your business playbook, the current state of your workspace here, you need to create today's operation system, right? Hit your revenue goals. Bam, 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 bang, right? It's telling me what missions that need to be created, right? Let me go back, right? This mission control. I can even create new missions here, right? I'm going to come here into mission control, right? A mission control, we're even giving it more superpowers, right? It's never been a time like this, has never been greater, right? I'm going to go here. I'm going to lower the template. Let me just do, if I'm going to do, let me do lead gen, right? Now these are the agents, right? These each one of these agents, I can choose agents. We've got over 60 plus agents that do different tasks, right? So once I've chosen an agent, right, I'm gonna leave it here. This finds the audience. Now I can start linking the agent. Boom, right, like this. Linking the agent, right? Now I can press a trigger. What can trigger the agent, right? When it wants to be triggered, right? This is the time we're living in, right? This is how we're able to build a one person company. I'm going to put here, I've got triggers. I can choose any triggers when I want these agents to start coordinating, right? And working together, right? Even if, oh my days, right? So this is the trigger, right? So no, sometimes I just let them. This is the agent point appointment setup. So if I get a lead from Facebook, right, I can trigger it here, right? That means I can even create another agent, right? I'm gonna right to bring the lead within 30 seconds of picking it up. So let me just see here, right? Let me just delete this, right? I'm just gonna show you, right, how I can make this possible. Let me duplicate this. Let me create another agent. I'm going to get another agent. Bang. Another agent deploy. I'm going to choose. Let me choose an agent. Here's some of the agents. Appointment set agent, community agent. We've even got a go high level builder agent, right? I'm just looking for a specific agent. I want the agent what will trigger the call. Where is the agent? I'm just going to call this cold calling agent, right? So that agent's been triggered. As soon as a Facebook lead comes in, right, I can trigger it like that, right? And this flow mission is created, is set up, right? So then I can just save this mission, right? And then it's set up, right? So this is what mission control does, right? Just imagine like in if you're a jet fighter, you have mission control, right? You have an army, right? This is an army of agents. you have your commander, your chief operating officer, you have mission control. So instead of having dozens of browser tabs, right, what actually happens, the agent can go out and be deployed, right? So this is all here. And so if I go to AI employees, right, all these are different AI employees. And once I press connect to the business playbook, right, inject the business playbook, that specific agent knows what's actually happening, right? We're living in incredible times, right? All these are different agents will have specific tasks, right? This is how we're able to build a one person company, literally, right? This is our media buying creative agent. This is a YouTube channel plan agent. This is a social media agent. This is a content agent, right? All these agents have specific tasks, right? This is, yeah, our outbound agent. This is if we're integrating. This is a social media agent, right? All these different agents who are able to make our run our company, right? So this is how we're able to make it possible, right? Now, most agents, right, sometimes they need access to tools. So what we have done, right, we actually created, right, a browser setup, right, an awesome browser setup. So here we put agents to work in a browser. So just imagine, right, let me just go back to here for a second, right, all these agents are running at any given time, right? This is an agent swarm. They're all running, right? But we have to create a workspace for them, an eco environment for them to log in, especially if they're logging into platforms like Facebook. We want them to have, we don't have to keep on giving the agent our password. So what we do to circumvent that, right? We create a browser session, right? We create a browser session. Once we create a browser session, then we can manage the agent through the browser and they won't have to keep on logging in. And we just connect our accounts here, right? We connect accounts, which is an awesome feature. So we launched a browser session for each agent. And how we does that? We work with browser base, right? We work with browser base, right? Literally a direct link. And browser base gives the agent access to the whole web, right? Through our API, we connect it to our platform, and now they have an individual browser that the agents can work through, right? So we never, and what the browser does, right? The browser stores the cookies so the agents can just go to work at any given time. We don't have to wait for a capture, anything, right? You know what I'm saying? So this is this is just next level stuff. Is next level stuff, right? This is how we have our agents running in different browser sessions, right? To run 24/7, 48/4, 48/4, all around the clock, right? This is how we're able to build a one person company. I told you today I'm leaking these systems, right? So even when it comes to, right, let me go to, actually, let me just go. This is our command center. So in our command center, we get alerts of what's actually happened when a job's be completed. We see it's being alerted, right? So we have a full ecosystem, right? Even when it comes to content, I'm gonna show you an example of content, right? Let me just go. Let me just go to here. Let me run an agent, and if we want to run an agent, right? We just come here, we press new run, we choose the agent that we want. We've got so much different agents that we're running through for sales, marketing, finance, right? So let me just go to show you a few. Let me go to the content agent, right? We like to do long form content if we're doing it for ourselves or we're deploying it in a client business. Let me go to this channel view, right? This is just a perfect example, right? All agents have a channel to communicate, and most of them have a dashboard, right? So we can see their performance and what they're actually doing. So I'm going to open this channel planner agent, right? This is the dashboard, right? This is where we're planning thumbnails for clients, etc., or ourselves, right? Let me just go here, right? This is the idea. So we'll go into the marketplace for content now, right? And we can take the top 10 competitors, right? Here's an example where we've got the competitors in a specific niche, right? And we can see their top performing videos, right? Their top performing videos, right? Alex and Mosey, he might know of. even gaps that you might know of. We can see what's working. So we can see the content gaps. And from the content gaps, then we can go and create content for those content gaps, right? So let's go back to our next chain. This is agent 1, agent 2, agent 3, agent 4, agent 5. This is how we chain the agents together to create a mission. So I'm going to go here now. So if we want to generate our script now, I can choose any subject to generate a script, right? So I've got options how I can do script, a topic-based script, a transcript, right? I can put my topic in here, choose the length, whether I want it 10 minutes, 15, 45 minutes, whether I want a talking head, right? A presentation, a voiceover, documentary style, right? I type the audience here and boom, right? I press generate, right? And it will generate me the script, right? And this is how it will come out, right? Let me go to one I've done earlier before. Recent scripts, right? These are all recent scripts. Let me go to one of these 5 skills, right? What income and AI will never replace, right? So here it generated a script. So it's given us in a dashboard format, right? I've got the script, I've got the raw script. I can go there, I can make edits. I've got the hooks and I've got the hook variations, the different hooks, the open premise, right? The intro scripts. I can choose what type of intro script I want. Then I've got additional notes. Then I got the monetization methods. How I can monetize this specific video. Then I've got a series expansion. Any of these scripts I can right based on the content gap that I have. I just print generate. It'll generate me a whole new script. Now I can go shoot that script and we're ready to go, right? And then afterwards, right, I can even go and create B-roll. I click the B-roll studio, boom. The B-roll studio opens up, right? All these are agents, right? And now I just paste the script in here, right? And then it will start generating B-roll. Let me go to one I've done before here. So it pastes the script in here. It breaks down the script, right, scene by scene, and generates its own B-roll. This is our B-roll agent. And once it's done that, right, let me go and show you what it looks like. Bang, right? The B-roll is created, right? The B-roll pops up here. It's created. Right, and we're creating B-roll, and then we take down all that B-roll, and then we can start putting our content together, right? Yeah. Yo, these are agents. So that's why I said the chief operation opera can set up missions to do this automatically, right? This is how we're building a one-person company, right? Let's go back. Let's go back. Let me go to, and then when we go to performance, right? When we go to performance, we can see the performance of what's actually happening, task agents. And if I go back to our agent swamp dashboard, right? Let me go back to our agent swamp dashboard. I can see the agent running. Boom, right? This agent, right? We generated that. Look, it took 6 minutes. Look how long these agents are taking: 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes to do tasks. What human beings would take an hour or 7 hours, sometimes even a week, right? So imagine the productivity, what can happen, right? This is how it's possible. If we increase our productivity, we increase our energy. If we increase our energy, right? Money is currency. Then we're generating more leads, sales is happening, marketing is happening. All the different facets of the company are running, right, at the speed of lightning. Then you tell me how it's not possible to generate more revenue, right? If we got the right playbook, right? So let's go back. I'm going to go back to a chat, right? This is a whole ecosystem. And now I'm go back to a chat. I can see, I go to money. I can see the agents that we're running right here, right? And we're always on control, and the chief operating officer will know what's actually happening, right? See, these agents are communicating together in our ecosystem. This is how it's possible, right? This is how it's possible to build a one-person company, right? And let me just go back to run a different agent, right? I'm going to go back here. Let's take a look. Yeah, we've actually got, let's go back into our auto dialer. Like lots of times we're generating leads, right? We go back into our auto dialer agent, right? We can do outbound and inbound calls, especially when we're doing lead gen, right? If we're calling leads, right? Or for leads, we're doing lead gen through Facebook or LinkedIn. Leads are coming in, boom, within 30 seconds, the agent can call. Not the agent calls through the dashboard, right? Bang, that lead is called within 30 seconds, and the conversation is recorded by another agent called our sales analysis agent, and boom, that conversation drops in here, right? Just like that, it drops like here, right? Agents working without human intervention, right? So I'm just going to show you, right, when it loads, right, that agent listens to the calls and finds out, is this lead, right, has this lead got commercial intent? And these are the conversations of the leads which are coming in, right? We can see, look, we can see the leads coming in as they go in this specific time, right? Let me just, because I've been streaming mode, I blanked out the personal data. Their number would be here, the name would be here, the number and that here, but I blanked it out. And we can see what's actually happened, right? Questions answered. These are the leads answering questions. Before we was running campaigns, let's see, 2,000 plus calls were made. If we made 2,000 calls, sometimes people, a lead might just say they're not that they're not interested, but they're not ready right now. Right. And we would have to sift through the data. It'll be a nightmare. But now our sales analysis agent can analyze the call, report the data here, right? And we can see what's cold and warm. Then we can pass it over to an appointment setter. We got appointment setter agent as well, but also we can pass it over to appointment setter, or we can pass it over to a closer to close the conversation, right? This is the future of business. And every lead what comes in, we have auto scoring, right? So this is the dashboard for sales calls coming in, right? This is a whole nother level. This is how we're able, like I say, to run a one person company business, right? Sales, marketing, right? Every element, right, is being added. And here, right, let me just go to it. We can add our CRM, right, into it. We can add our CRM. So all the leads, we see what's actually happening in Go High Level. And let me just go back to our channel connections, right? Because now we developed this MCP, right? MCP means we're able to communicate with any platform. Let me go and find a channel. So at channels, right? Here we can add our Facebook page, our LinkedIn, right? We're adding it through an API or the automated browser session, right? And also we built a MCP, right? If other platforms got MCP, we can communicate with them. Boom, straight like that, right? And over 1,000 platforms we can communicate. The data comes back into the central intelligence business operating system. The executive chief operator can execute, can find the agent which is going to do the work, whether it be sales, marketing, and whatever given department, and activity is done, right? Then we get updates at the end of the day, right? And also, let me just go into this other agent, right? I want to show you the scorecard agent, right? I'm telling you, we're living in incredible times, right? Let me find a weekly scorecard agent. I told you we're moving to the time where one person can build a one person company. Let me go back to the scorecard agent, the weekly scorecard agent. Boom, right? This, if there's always metrics to track, always metrics to track in your business, be it from Facebook to leads, appointments, right? So let's just go in here and open up this dashboard. See what this agent does. Right here, I'm just going to pre-populate with sample data. Bang, right? Just to give you an example. Then it's going to build the dashboard for me. This is the agent, right? Let's take a look, right? We get a weekly scorecard. Before, you'd have management meetings with sales departments, marketing departments, finance departments, all have to communicate. They each take like an hour or 2 hours to repair documents. But with AI agents now, we do it at the speed of lightning, right? Watch what's going to happen right now. So now we can track what's happened on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, right? And a daily basis, right? Right now, it's just calculating. It's going into Facebook. It'll go into the analytics, right, of Go High Level. It'll go into like Google Analytics and feedback us all our data, right, where we are at any given time. And the chief operating officer will report that data back to us, right? Even in the morning, right? Every day we'll come into the office, we see what the chief operating officer is actually. Boom, right? Just imagine, right? So this is just an overview, right? It's giving us the total leads that have come in for the day, right? the scores, right? The pipeline, right? The biggest bottleneck. Imagine AI has figured out the biggest bottleneck with all the agents running it knows. So it says your biggest bottleneck is that the lead volume or performance is a conversation in a sales pipeline to generate 120 leads. The leads at this week is 4.20 cost per lead, but only 12 of them made a call. Then the other eight showed up. This is where your revenue is leaking. You're losing 50% of your revenue before the leads that show. Bang! So it's actually the agent actually figured this out, right? Let's go into the score summary, right? Now it's figured out lead gen, it's working it out. Revenue, pipeline, marketing, operations, the founder, right? So we go to calculate metrics. It's calculating the metrics for us, right? You want to know how it's possible to do all that, right? I'm coming to it, right? I'm going to share the pipeline. What's actually pipeline is pulling data from our CRM, right? We've connected the two. So it's pulling the data and now it's got the objectives, right? So even our marketing is pulling the data across, right? The bottlenecks, you can see the bottlenecks and give us a report what's actually happening in the business, which is remarkable, right? After analyzing all the data, right? If you had 4 different heads relating with 4 different people, it will take some time to get the information. Then provides us with a action plan. Remember, this is the weekly scoreboard agent, right? So what need to do? Audit the entire lead to journey, right? Every touch point, implement day to lead follow-up, add CRM, email confirmation sequence for book calls. Boom! It's telling us, right? This is how we're able to build a one-man company through the power of AI. The cost per leads is telling us clients closed, calls completed, right? Then it gives us a full report, just like this, right? We can see at any given week, every end of the week ending, right? It's coming. How is it able to do this? Many people are asking. Boom. This is how we're connecting, right? Facebook, Go High Level, Stripe, all our central business data platforms that we use and plug into this agent, right? What then is able to filter the data back, boom, right, in any given time, and then basically pull that data. All with the power of create this AI agent can do that, right? So this is where we're moving to, right? Let me go back now, right? I'm telling you, we have an army of agents running together. I love seeing the swamp, the agent swamp. Let me just go back here to see, right? I'm gonna go back to chat. These are all the agents will start communicating with each other. I'm going to go to monitor, right? And we see them running. Imagine that. These are all ages. Before, we used to have 30 to 40 plus people, right? In the Philippines, in America, in a few other countries. Right now, our agents are running the task, what sometimes would take a human being 7 hours, 3 hours to do it in the speed of lightning, right? This is how we're able to build. I told you I'm leaking my platform, a one-person company, right? So we can schedule things as well, right? Mainly, right, what we like to remain human element is our closer, right? And appointment sale, right? Appointment sales, we've got different types of appointment sales, right? Some of them we have an agent to do it, right? And some, right, if we, especially on new campaigns, until we master it, then we have a human being like do the appointment setting, right? So we can actually see, we can link a Go High Level calendar, right? Bang. So the agent, the chief operating officer, is on the pulse of the business, right? No matter what CRM you have, you can add it, right? So this is how we're able. And not only that, every agent is audited, right? It's audited to see the performance, right? Let's go. We can order agent. We can order that our workspace, right? So let me just go back. I'm going to switch over to admin, all right? We're able to order agents. Hey. Actually, let me, in this run, let me just go to run. So here, right, I'm just going to go to QA audit. We can audit a specific agent, right? This is a whole ecosystem. So let me just audit. I'm going to audit. Let me audit agent. I can even audit the chief operating officer, right? That's how level it is, right? I'm not leaving the agent to run independently, right? Even the chief operating officer can audit agent, see what's happening, if there's any progress, and we have speed AI learning in the business, right? So what happens if we start this? Just imagine, right? We know where our bottlenecks are in the business, right? We can grow advance. But every 30 to 40 days, the business gets even more powerful from the learning it has, right? AI learning will optimizes the system, optimizes the agents to increase its productivity. By the end of the year, right? You will be a monster, right? The data and intelligence that the agents have had and the platform, right? There's no way, right? There's no way how your competitor could beat up. But this is how we're able to build a one person company. So now, right, we're auditing agents, right? We're not just leaving them to do this, can happen weekly, right? Can happen monthly. We're getting feedback because when we see the feedback of the performance of the agent, then we know what to do. And then a self correction process comes and happens, right? This is how we're able to build a one person company, right? While that's happening, I did want to finish off showing you. Um, let me just go back to this run while that's actually happening. I was showing you a specific content pipeline. Actually, am I in the right workspace? Yeah, I'm in the right workspace. Let me search for it. We've even got a media buying agent, right? The media buying agent, oh my days, is on the next level. But this is the planner which I was looking for. I'm going to open this because there's one thing I didn't finish showing you, right? Bang, right? So once we've got the content now, once we've got the content, this agent goes and promotes it. We've got agents that go and post it on different platforms. But let me just go here, right? So we take that one piece of content. This agent is a promo content. Every piece of content it takes 48 hours and it creates a promotion strategy, right? So here's the agent. It does the job description for the video on YouTube. It does the reels, creates 6 additional reels, right? From one piece of content, does captions, right? These are specialized agents, right? Booking sequence, right? A medium article, right? With tags and posts, right? LinkedIn article, X article with viral tweets, right? Facebook, right? Can create a Facebook post, right? An article for your website, a Substack article. This is how we split the content from one piece of content into 40 pieces of content, right? Boom, right? So this is what's possible, right? We are actually the moment we have an API with Opus Clip, but we're building our own, right? Our own like clipping platform, right? Which a clipping agent which is gonna do that, right? So it's still generating, right? It's running, it's checking, right? So in the meantime, while it's doing that, let me go back because people ask me questions, right? So let me just and just imagine, right? We I showed you like 3 or 4 agents where we got 60 plus agents on the platform. And it's not about the amount of agents that you have. You start with a few, like 1 to 5. One of the main 5 agents that you would start with. Number one, the chief if the is the business playbook, right? Number two, right? The mission control. Number three, the chief operating officer, right? Number four, a sales agent, and number five, a marketing agent. You start with 5, and then you grow. You grow from there, right? And you get more specific, right? And then the chief operating officer is going to know your business, and then you can start scaling with more agents. So, hey, let me just get some of the questions that people have been asking me. What is a one person company? Hey, I hope I've demonstrated what one is, right? Let me just go back to this platform, see it's working while it's doing that, right? So, actually, while it's doing that, let me go back to this agent swamp. I want you to see like agents work, and imagine you run the business with agents doing the work for you. A one person company is a business where a single entrepreneur owns a lead or the company while generating AI, right? Automation, right? Software to perform tasks. Agents have specific tasks and which are delivering, right? According to the business goals, the business playbook, right? Agents know what to deploy, right? And you've got marketing, sales, customer support, operations, systems, right? Administration, and the goal is to have a orchestrated, right, mission for agents to go and execute and work 24/7 without resting, right, sleeping, right. Is AI going to replace human jobs? I don't believe AI will replace human jobs, but there will be more, how can I say, they're going to be more lesser jobs, right? But still humans working because you still have to orchestrate and control the agent, right? But this will transform how things are done. History shows that new technology changes the way how we work and how tasks will be eliminated, right? People will work and learn how to use AI, how to orchestrate it, right? And how to become more productive, right? This is what's where we're moving to, right? What is an AI native company? What you see me demonstrate, right, is a AI native company, right? An AI native company is when your company is built with AI from the ground up, right? On this platform, we enable businesses. We one of the skills that we do or service that we do is help companies become AI native by integrating agents into the platform, building their business playbook, right? Building a chief operations officer, which is also an agent, and let them rip, let them cook, right? And go to help the business goals and objectives. So AI company is designed from the beginning with AI integrated into its everyday practice and operation, not like ChatGPT, where you might have a tab up in ChatGPT, you're going to ChatGPT in one tab. I have not left, right? Not once have you seen me, right? While I'm talking, go to ChatGPT. Not once, right? Not once have you seen me go to Claude. It's all operating in an ecosystem. Not once have you seen me go to Hermes, right? Or Kimchi, right? The new models, right? I haven't. I've been doing all in this ecosystem, right? So that's where customer support, marketing, right? All of is on one platform. This is what we call AI native company. Do I need to know how to code or build agents, right? You can start, right? Right. The best way is to start, right? If you want to like Claude co-work, right? That can like, but you still got to build your processes, right? And a lot of the times, right, if you've been working on these platforms like ChatGPT, right, it's gonna know about yourself. But this is a whole next level, right? This is what we call native AI, right? The nervous system, right? The chief operating officer is a nervous system, right? With other agents and a control, mission control, and the business playbook pumping the heart, right, of your goals and objectives, right? It's a complete different level. What is the first agent employees to every business need, which I did tell you, right? Oh, let me just go. The business playbook, right? You need somewhere where you put your business goals and objectives, all the systems and processes, right? In the business playbook. Then you need mission control, right? How missions and would be executed, right? In your business, right? Then you a chief operating officer. This is how we build, right? In AI native company, one person company, right? Because these are key essential roles. Then we have let's go and see mission control, right? A chief operating officer, because the chief operating officer is the one who's executing your business playbook and your mission control, and then the agents come in, right, with structure to execute those goals. It's so important that you know. Let me just strictly see, right? Is this task is done? Boom, right? This audit has been like the chief operations was literally audited. Let's see what it passed, right? Metrics, right? It's measuring metrics. All these were ticks. So it looks like we have a good, it looks like we got good agent so far, but these things were adjudicated, right? Quickly identify demands, some output distributed, recommended on or off sequence, right? Missing complete imitation plan, risk assessment, right? So it's telling me, right, what the chief operation can improve upon, right? These are tests, but you see most, right? So this chief operator still, right, needs optimization, but he's still doing things, right? So most of these are ticks, right? Most of these are ticks. Truplicate. Sometimes it can be a coding error. right? So sometimes you might have a system it's doing well, but then it cracks, it happens, right? But our chief operations officer, mostly we're seeing green. If I wanted to fix these issues, bang, I just go to auto fix and it can auto fix, right? Just like that, right? So this is the efficiency, right, of these agents. We're not letting them cook on their own, right? No way, right? We've got integration systems built in. And another thing I will show you, right, is the security and infrastructure. Right, let me just go to like admin. Let me go. Let me just go. Actually, that's doing work. I'm going to show you that. Hopefully, let me see. Right, we've even got security built in, right, which is so important, right? So if I go to, I'm going to go to chat, right? I'm going to go to, right? We've got security 24/7, right? Always running, right? The security is analyzing the infrastructure. We've got a security agent, the database, the APIs, the MCP, the DOS, right? Like also, right? All these different functions the security agent is measuring, right? Any given time, right? We say how secure is stuff. We got agent measuring and operating, right? Seeing this stuff, the database, the MCP, data protection, right? Privacy policy, cookies, like so. We got security agent protecting the business, right? It's a whole nother level, right? And things sometimes like your website can go down, boom, you're gonna know, you're gonna get alert in any given time, right? If any of your passwords are being like yeah, you're gonna know, like you're gonna know, right? So the security agent is working. So this is an ecosystem. This is what I always say, right? Claude cannot do that for your business per se, right? ChatGPT, right? This is why they're add-ons, but this is what we call AI native company, right? AI native, right? Where AI is working at is at the core of your business. The core of your business. You can see what's actually happening, right? So I hope you're catching the drift. Let me go back and see now. Just want to see, right? So now this agent is self-improving, self-optimizing, right? It's self-optimizing. What is the biggest mistakes most people make when using AI? Right. One of the most common mistakes is AI, right? I would say is right, is without giving enough context, right? Context is everything. AI works best when it understands the business, the goals, like your customers, your processes, building a strong knowledge base, right? And documenting how your business operates. This is why we have a business playbook, right? We literally give AI every facet of the company so it can execute the goals. The agents can execute the goals. Then the chief operating officer can work right with the agents to make sure they're implementing the business goal book. Just imagine you have a campaign, right? A Facebook campaign or a Google campaign or a YouTube campaign. You're going to have your metrics, your ICP, what it's targeting, right? The agent can literally go into the Facebook platform, right? And cook, right? Make sure that campaign is getting executed, right? If you're getting leads under certain CP cost per lead, right? Can cut that, right? See, right? It's the whole next level. It's the whole next level, right? Which business process should automate first? Like I said, right? You want to automate your lead gen and your sales, right? Because these are key components, but you're doing that based on your business playbook, right? What your goals and objectives first, right? So this is what I wanted to show you, right? What industries can benefit from this AI agents and digital? Every single industry can benefit by having, and every single industry, right, is going to be turned upside down, like marketing, finance, right, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, right? This is the future, right? This is the future of business, the future of work, right? This is what's actually happening. This is the future of work, what you're looking at right now. Every industry is going to be turned upside down. I'm just looking for, let me just go. Every industry, let me go back, right? Because just look at how these AI agents are running, are reporting to the chief operating officer, even the chief CEO, right? This was never achievable before. This was never achievable, right? But now we're living in this time of AI, right? Like I said, it's making it possible. Literally, it's making it possible. So this is what you see now, how I've leaked my one person, one man system. This is how we're making it possible. We've built an entire ecosystem to make it possible. Where do you think business will be in 5 years? I think we'll see, right, more businesses using AI, right, uh, on this level, right? No for surety, right? Big companies like Salesforce, right? They're cutting staff by 2,000, 5,000 redundancies, right? Because they're building their own ecosystems. Then now they understand. Also, we're seeing that Claude, ChatGPT partnered with BlackRock, right? And they created their own system to provide enterprise solutions like this, right, to AI companies because they know what's happening, right? This is the future, right? If you jump on board this train right now, right, you will make an immense amount of money. You have immense amount of freedom. You have an immense amount of freedom because you have agents doing the work for you, right? A lot of people I speak to, they want time freedom. They want financial security. This is another way how to achieve it on a whole nother level, right? So I hope you found this stream useful, right? And I'll see you on the next one.